up? It's Joe Raiti from Raity's Rides. I'm still in Plano, Texas at the Toyota headquarters for that HQ Confidential. And guess what? They had a very, very special car that they brought here from California. This is that second generation, totally redesigned Toyota Mirai. But before we get into this 2021 Mirai, let's talk about what's going on here. We're in this race, it seems, to help protect and save the environment. And one of those things that a lot of manufacturers are running towards are electric vehicles. One thing that's very, very fascinating is that this vehicle is not an EV. This is a hydrogen powered vehicle. It has a hydrogen fuel cell, runs off hydrogen, but you know what? It does not emit the usual exhaust gases like your regular internal combustion engine, but Toyota is saying there's lots of great advantages when it comes to hydrogen and using that as a power source to drive our transportation. One thing is for certain, lots of competition, like I said, with those EVs, those electric vehicles. Tesla, Toyota's getting into the mix. Obviously, when it comes to the Chevrolet Bolt, Porsche now has performance EVs. What if we put a little bit more effort? Is hydrogen the answer? And is this second generation Mirai the answer to that whole equation? Let's dive in and see what's unique about this car. Starting at the front of the business, you'll notice for the second generation, you have a totally redesigned front end. Coming from the first generation of the Mirai, this is such a pleasurable experience when it comes to what they've done. The first one was revolutionary. Hydrogen power car, but it looked like a science experiment. This particular one has some wonderful style, and it really blends and mixes Lexus, which is the premium luxury brand of style for Toyota, and Toyota together in one vehicle. So starting at the front of the business, you'll notice that projector beam LED headlight design, some chrome on the interior. I'm actually liking it because it balances nicely with the red. We first saw this car at the LA Auto Show in 2019 when it was unveiled. And if you never saw that review, I'll leave it at the end of this one so you can kind of see us on the stage at the LA Auto Show back in 2019. But you'll notice all that great style. You're gonna have more LED exterior lighting, but I really like the way there's not a bunch of just black plastic all over the place. It really has a nice flow. And even though, like I said, it does not look like the first gen whatsoever, it still goes through the air and has that low coefficient of drag that you need in some type of alternative fuel vehicle. Now, when you come to the front, you're gonna get that Toyota badge. Obviously, that blue usually represents hybrid technology, but because this is that alternative fuel, they brought the blue. You have a forward-facing camera. I love this lower grille area. It's interesting how this design has kind of trickled over to the Avalon, to the Camry, and then of course the other Lexus products. But the way it's all horizontal and it's this nice flat metallic gray, it kind of actually looks way better than just flat black or even gloss black. You have some chrome trim, just a little dabbling to kind of blend in with the chrome trim and the headlight housing. And really, I like the way it extends off that front fascia. Look at the way it has almost like these corner splitters there to help direct that air. It's not so much for downforce, but it's for directing air. And I think they hit the nail on the head. When you come up on that nose, it's almost like a little bit of a super nose kind of tucked down. But when you do rise up, the body lines go right into the hood. You do have a rise in the center, and they kind of U-shape that rise, and it all goes right towards the A-pillars. Now, coming around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup on this limited trim. So you're gonna have a limited trim here. You'll notice machine aluminum gloss black wheel. This is a 19-inch wheel, 235 on the width on the tires, a meaty 55 series sidewall. But this design, it's meant to really flow nicely with the air, but it also looks good, especially, like I said, with this dark red that we have and all the black accents. But that's a 19-inch wheel. Coming down the side of the vehicle, the body line picks up. You got your fuel cell badge way down below. I wish they would have put that somewhere else. I am gonna zonk that just from a styling standpoint, but the nice smooth body line down the side of the vehicle. We got color matched mirror caps, 360-degree cameras, just the shiny, bright metalwork along the bottom. That's it. And I think that it does a good thing of not making this vehicle look heavy from the top. Just having it on the bottom, slim and trim with the gloss black. You have full blacked out roof. Thank you, Toyota. It's a panoramic sunroof, but they painted the back portion, including the shark fin antenna. Nice, smooth curve, gonna give you plenty of headroom. Look at this, the lower side sill there, how it extends down, and then they trim it up and everything flows into the rear. Now with the body lines coming towards the rear, beautiful job on that quarter window. Look at how they did the glass. They actually sunk it down to increase that airflow, and even the way they did the third brake light, where they house the third brake light, that is all there for bringing that air and just cheating it as it goes across the trunk. Nice low, simple trunk, doesn't need a trunk lid spoiler. You're gonna have your clean LED taillights. Look at the wonderful, intricate detail of design. I'm digging the Mirai badge. Definitely 21st century, definitely different. You got your Toyota badge in the center. This is a limited trim. You could go higher, fuel cell, and then flat black, obviously. Look what we got, all clean underneath, even functional. This is functional venting in the back, so there's nothing to zonk. Absolutely digging the style, but why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and take a look of what's underneath it. All right, guys, underneath the hood, very, very interesting. So we have the hydraulic hood struts, a lot of black plastic, but you know what? It's meant to really clean up what's happening underneath the hood. And then you're gonna have this supersized engine cover. I'm digging the style, bright silver. It almost has like this wave of a styling effect there with the fuel cell and that Toyota badge. But what are we really talking about that's underneath that cover? So you are looking at that electric motor. So there's an electric motor that produces 182 horsepower, 221 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a 1-speed direct drive transmission. It's rear-wheel drive. This chassis is rear-wheel drive. 0 to 60, not the fastest. And I think if you're comparing this to an EV, that's where there's gonna be a little bit of a delineation when it comes to overall acceleration performance. But 0 to 60 in about 9 seconds. Top speed is 106 miles an hour. The great news is, on one tank of hydrogen, you're gonna be able to go 402 miles, which equates to 67 mpges. The vehicle weighs 4,300 pounds. And the biggest benefit is that it just takes minutes of fueling rather than hours of charging. And the only thing that this emits is water vapor. The zonk is that it's only available in California. That is not Toyota's fault. That deals with obviously local governments and whatnot. You do get a $15,000 fuel credit and 21 days of vehicle loans if you are going to leave the state of California, because obviously of the hydrogen not being available in other states. Now, with the fuel cell, that's gonna keep you safe. And that's the thing, is that whole misnomer that hydrogen power, you know, people think of the hydrogen bomb or something like that. No. Toyota obviously has been able to make this very, very safe, very usable. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior and see what big things are in store for this 2021 Mirai. All right, guys, we're inside this 2021 Toyota Mirai. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, how much? How much is this? There's two different trims you could get, XLE or the limited trim. XLE is gonna be around $50,000. This limited is gonna be around $60,000. Let's see what you get for the money when you're comparing it to the EVs, to the door panels. Like the style, nice soft touch material, that aluminum style finish looks really clean. The one thing I am gonna zonk is that dark chocolate brown on the armrest. They could have went with a lighter material or just left it all dark. And there's gloss black around the switch gear for the door lights and the side glass. But the great news is you do have a good sized door pocket. Easily get a 6-inch cold cut combo from Subway in there. Now when you go from the door panel to the dash, soft touch material, this is where it gets a little weird because like I said, they had brown, chocolate brown, and now you have this white style material. So I felt like they should have just chose one instead of bringing both in. But I do like the clean, fresh style. A little bit of gloss black along the lower section, but look at this massive infotainment system. So really nice to see this large display, the way it's integrated into the actual gauge housing for all your driver information. Really makes it clean. And the sight line, it's not going to block your vision out the front windshield. Of course, you're going to have your navigation, your Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto. You could do your controls through the actual infotainment, or there's physical buttons as well. Let me throw it into reverse for you. There's your backup camera. You get that little whirly sound because this vehicle does not make sound because it's hydrogen powered. And you got your 360. So nice and easy to navigate through. We drop down, you do have your power on button, that blue power on button, some silver, some gloss black, and this is where it gets gloss black heavy. Now what's interesting is you have the shifter here for that direct drive transmission. You got your different drive modes, which I'll show you more of that when you come to the business end. Wireless charging, 2 cup holders, and then you have your buttons for your AC controls. Heated seats, ventilated seats on the limited trim. Here is your Mirai key fob. They did bring a little bit of silver, which actually kind of spruces it up a little bit, but I wish they would have done something a little bit more. Soft on the armrest. Open that up, 2 USBs, and you literally could put, I would say, $1 million in here. Not $1 million in cash, but 10, 100 gram bars easily with a 12 volt. And then the seats, that same off-white material with the perforated center, super, super soft. Full electric assist for the passenger and the driver, and the controls are easy to get to, which is wonderful. And then you have a panoramic sunroof. And then to top it all off, they do give you a digital rear view mirror. So I like that technology in this Mirai, especially with it being hydrogen powered. But why don't you come over here? Looking good? Come on over here. I want to show you behind the business end of this Mirai. All right, guys, business time. Behind the wheel, you do have 2 memory seat settings. I like the little Mirai sill plate that you have. Wish they would have went just a little bit, just extended a little bit longer, but I do like the script. Like I said, easy to get to those buttons on the side. And then the steering wheel actually looks classy because it's a two-tone material. You got the perforated white leather to match what's going on in the interior, the darker on the outside, and the stitch work is really, really well done. Horn button is a little bit of a letdown. I mean, it's a lot of a letdown, but it seems that Toyota needs to work a little bit on making the horn buttons a little sexier. But I do like the way they extend this out, make the Mirai badge there. There's your H2O button. And then you're gonna have your other buttons for the 360 camera view, snow, shut off the traction control. And then, besides having electric tilting and telescoping steering wheel, you do have, of course, that nice digital display where you could go through a whole hydrogen cornucopia of information. Really easy to see, easy to use, and a massive head-up display. But you know what? Let's get to the back seat and see if there's enough room in this Mirai for your passengers. All right, guys, back seat time in the Mirai. Never thought I'd be sitting in one of these since I don't live in California, but obviously there's going to be tax credit implications. Plus, like I said, you're gonna get that $15,000 hydrogen fuel credit as well to fuel this thing up, and it fuels in minutes, not hours. Back seat, it's interesting. I got a lot of leg room. I feel like I'm having a duck right here because of how the panoramic sunroof is. It does go back up. The headliner rises back up, but I have to sit a little bit like this. I feel fine like this, but if I go a little forward, depending on how you style your hair or how tall you like to sit in the seat, you might make contact with this. Now, the backs of the seats all the way around, nice, large rear pockets for those Twizzlers, for the Slim Jims, and then you're gonna have a little control center here. You have your AC vents, some gloss black, nothing too crazy, and then you're gonna have 2 USBs, which is really nice. Close those up. You got your JBL multi-speaker sound system in here for the limited trim. We do have hydrogen shades here to protect you from the peepers and the creepers. They're not really hydrogen, but you know, it's a hydrogen car. Ambient lighting on top of that, which is nice as well. And then check out this armrest. You ready for this one? Boom. Nice and soft. Watch this. You want to see technology? Hit the on button. You got a full touch panel. Heated seats, ventilated rear seats, your AC controls, easy to work. Your cup holders, kaboom. And then look at this. Fill that up with Skittles. You could put a 5-pound sack of Skittles in there. Taste the rainbow. Close it up. But you know what? There's a hydrogen fuel cell I'm sitting on right now. let's get to the trunk area and see how much room we have in this Mirai. Guys, trunk time on the Mirai. You just feel for the button, hit the release, and you lift it up. That is the amount of space that you have. So one of the downfalls is with the hydrogen fuel cell, you are gonna be limited on trunk space, and you're not gonna be able to fold the rear seats down. What Toyota does is underneath this panel here is the battery. You do have a good amount of width, it's just the actual depth into the trunk. But you know what? Let's go ahead. We talked about all the other features. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle, hydrogen style, in this Mirai. All right, guys, we're in this 2021 Toyota Mirai. Very, very unique experience, especially because we were supposed to be at the media event in California for the the release of this second generation. The wonderful thing is it feels like a regular internal combustion engine car. The way the layout is, the technology with the infotainment system, the digital dash, your massive head-up display, of course, the sound. You're gonna have a very quiet experience. Let me actually lower it. I think the AC blower is making more noise overall than this vehicle itself. But it's very, very quiet. And remember, we're talking about rear wheel drive, which gives you nice driving characteristics and dynamics. But why don't we go ahead, let's do a little on throttle. I'm gonna put it in sport mode. I told you there's different modes. We're gonna go on throttle, here we go. So as you saw, not much sound. It's very, very quiet, very linear. It doesn't give you the kick of an EV vehicle. And remember, that electric motor is not driving the wheels. The electric motor is doing the science with the hydrogen to produce the power. And remember, what this emits is gonna be H2O, water vapor. That's the nice plus. But interior wise, very, very spacious. Here we go. You want to go on throttle again? On throttle. Here we go. It would be interesting to see this in a performance application. I'm sure, and I know it could be done, but the 0 to 60 is lacking, especially when you look at the EV vehicles. But the driving dynamics, like I said, as we're going down this road here, it feels really good. You got a low center of gravity. And at the end of the day, it comes down to minutes to refuel rather than hours to recharge. Getting to the infotainment system is very simple. The digital display readouts are clear. Right now, it's a heavily overcast kind of day, so the glare is not an issue, but I think with the panoramic sunroof open, it could be an issue. But let's go on throttle, here we go. Very interesting driving experience. It's different from an EV. If you think it's gonna be more like an EV, it's not. It like falls in this weird gray area between internal combustion engine and full EV. I do like the overall weight of the steering with the front end of the Toyota Mirai, being able to feel what's going on. Obviously, this isn't a corner carver or anything like that, but it almost like glides. I mean, I can't even hear or feel these expansion joints, and it just glides down the road. Having wireless charging, of course, ventilated and heated seats in this limited trim really adds up to the big picture. But it was great of Toyota to bring a couple of these out to this event, because it allows us to show you what that hydrogen technology is about, keep it safe, and could be that thing that we see more vehicles being powered by this this fuel source. But hopefully this gives you a great overall feel of what the Toyota Mirai is all about. Maybe you didn't even know it existed, but we're gonna get back to that beautiful scenic park area. We're talking about protecting the environment. Let's go back to that natural environment and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one heck of an adventure here at the Toyota headquarters in Texas. I definitely got to thank Zach and the rest of the crew getting us, bringing this Mirai to Texas They're going to be bringing it back to California, but it really goes to show that, listen, there's many different options out there, and there doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be one answer to solve a problem or an issue. This Mirai really proves that hydrogen could be that fuel of the future. But let me know what you think in the comments section about a hydrogen-powered car and about the benefits and, of course, the minuses. But if you want to keep seeing unique alternative fuel vehicles here on Raity's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raity's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the first link, become a Raity's Rides Patreon member. Click the second link, get yourself some Raity's Rides merch. Gotta give it to the queen of the camera. She picked this spot. It's a total beautiful scenery. Show her some love in that comment section for working hard with that camera. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.